So I'm really excited to introduce my good friend, Laurie Levin. We've been friends for over a decade. She has helped me in so many ways. She's helped me with my own nutrition and well-being, but mostly she's helped me deal with becoming a better human being and having a more positive mindset. So I'm so grateful to Laurie for all that she's done. And Laurie, go ahead and share your story this morning.
Thank you, Dee. Thanks so much for inviting me to share today, and everybody on the call, for taking the time to be here. It's certainly great to be with you today. As I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I was reminded of an opportunity that came to me about 20 years ago. I had learned that my mother's 55th high school reunion was taking place. And for some of you, the youngest on the call, that may not seem humanly possible. However, it is. You can have a 55th high school reunion. Not that I would know. I'm at least about 6 years, I think, away. I had to do the math on that. But I remember being invited to that and asking if I would come in her place. And I just could not refuse. I loved the stories I heard about my mother. She was the class valedictorian, didn't know that. She was a star basketball player, didn't know that, and a great friend for her classmates. They had wonderful high school years together in this very small town in Missouri, in this very small class. And I also learned that as a teenager, she could be seen doubled up in a chair with stomach cramps. And that was the beginning of what would eventually take my mother's life at a very young age. And as the reunion was coming to a close, I remember we were all gathered in this little circle, very little, about 11 of us or 12 of us, I think. And they were deciding whether they would meet in another 5 years, as they had been doing, or would they go annually. And I remember looking around the group, only 2 of whom were men, thinking about, this wonderful group of people. And I made the suggestion they go annually. Just thinking, if you want to keep a group together here, I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years here, but anyway, I suggested they go annually. I don't know what they decided to do. What I do know is from my earliest of years, I remember having a great sense of urgency about health and life. I also remember very, very clearly the last time I saw my mother. I was 11 years old, and she was waving to us from her hospital room, Jewish hospital. For those of you in St. Louis, you probably remember. If you're a little bit, I guess north of 40 years old, 45 years old, you probably remember it was Barnes Jewish Hospital today, I think is what it's called, but Jewish Hospital certainly back then. One of the best hospitals in the country, but unfortunately unable to cure her form of stomach cancer. And she died at the age of 39. I was 11. She was amazing. And I'm so fortunate to have had her in my life for those 11 years. And when I was 39, having just given birth to my daughter, Elena, my older sister said to me, I remember her saying so clearly, she said, Laurie, you know what the best gift we can give our daughters is? I had no idea what she was going to say. I said, what, Cindy? And she said, stay alive. So I got busy. I studied nutrition for hours every day. I was determined to get off the 5 meds a day I was taking for my severe stomach disorders, which weren't getting any better regardless of the medication, the new medication that had just come out, the number of them, the number of times I went to the doctor. And that just stopped making any sense to me at all. So within a relatively short period of time, 180 degrees change in my nutritional diet, I was off all those medications that doctors said I would be on for life. However, I would still have some flare-ups occasionally. So 18 years ago, I did become a heart math coach because I came to understand that the way I was handling life's events, stress in my life, and my emotions was not healthy either. I was a vice president of a large research company. I had a great income, benefits, lots of travel, beautiful home, family, and yet my stomach was still not 100%, and I knew I could still improve. And I was beginning to understand at that time that staying alive was so much more than being around for another birthday. It meant loving your life. And I was trading time for money. While I had a great corporate career, I was no longer passionate about my work, and that was impacting everything and everybody around me. And I remember standing outside of the elevator of my office one day. My daughter had come to work with me. She was about 8 or 9. and it was take your daughter to work day. Remember those things way back when? Well, I was teary-eyed as we stood at the elevator door waiting for the elevator, and she asked me what was wrong. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't raise you to be your best, do what you love to do, and continue doing what I'm doing. So shortly afterwards, I gave my notice, and in time began coaching others to understand the human body and what it takes to optimize health and performance, emotionally and nutritionally. And in time, I reached out to my good friend, Dee Garcia. We had dinner one night, I don't know if she remembers this, but late hours in the morning in Clayton, right? Late to us anyway, we were in our 50s at the time. She was all excited about this program, this crazy program she was offering her patients, and it was called Take Shape for Life at the time, of course, and now called Optavia. I listened, I really listened. I wanted something new from the people I was working with, and I wanted a stronger business life. But there was one thing that wasn't clicking for me at all, and it was a package. It was food in a package. I was moving toward 100% plant-based diet, and so that felt off for me, inconsistent with where I, personally was going and how I was coaching. Well, Dee, being the amazing person she is, said, don't make any decisions. Come to this event that Dr. A will be attending in a couple of weeks in St. Louis. And I said yes. And as she promised, I got to meet with Dr. A. He and I talked about my corporate background and what I wanted to create in this next chapter of my life. He was amazing. I mean, he listened, he cared, he looked me in the eye the entire time. I have to say, it was an incredible experience with a doctor. One, I hadn't experienced to that date with all the doctors I was going to all those years for my stomach. I could see this was the bridge that so many people needed to get to the point I wanted them to, eating a healthy diet, living a healthy lifestyle. The immediate need for millions of Americans was reaching a healthy weight quickly and safely. And the habits of health were the same ones I had to take on in my life to heal my stomach. So when I said yes to Optavia, I had no idea at the time I was saying yes to staying alive at a whole new level. A dream of mine was to write a book. I am passionate about human rights. I have been my whole life. I know we will never have a peaceful country or world until people have equal rights to live their best life and share that with their children. I wanted desperately to make a positive contribution to that work and conversation before I exit the planet. Another dream was to live near the ocean. World travel is a must for me, and of course, my daughter's happiness. It's essential to my happiness as hers. I'm happy to say my book is complete. I released it earlier this year. I live near the ocean, just a couple of minutes away. I'll be in Europe a couple of times next year. And my daughter, well, she's bought her first home in Dublin, Ireland this year, has her master's degree, is doing work she loves, and is engaged to the most wonderful Irishman. They will be married next September in the beautiful Dublin mountains. So I've come to learn that what I was seeking all along was really peace. My work, my family, where I live and how I live, who I surround myself with, and where I'm going. They are all now in alignment with my core values, with what matters most to me. There is now certainty about the path I am on. Optavia has given me the tools, the ongoing learning, the challenges I needed, the support, the mentorship, the team and community, much like the one we're experiencing today, to set goals, never give up, then set new goals and never give up. To walk the beach a few times a week, write books, I'm working on my second one now, and spend my time in sync with my heart's greatest desires. Peace. So if you're in it for the long game and you want to truly create an extraordinary life, you've got access. Plug in, never give up, and hold on tight. You might just end up on the other side of the country, now that we're global, on the other side of the world, with so much more than you ever could have imagined when you first said yes to Optavia. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you so very much.
Wow, Laurie, so powerful. And, every time I hear that story about your mom, it literally makes me cry, because as an oncologist, I saw women every single day of the week for 30 years. And many of them, most of them did well. They were cured. They went on to, live full lives and raise their children, but there were those women that didn't make it. And there's nothing that I can think of that would be more painful than not living life with your mom around. And so thank you so much for sharing. But everything you said was so powerful, especially you were trading time for money instead of loving and living your life. And that is so powerful. And the thing is, with our business model, we can help a lot of people get their lives back, extend their lives. But also, people don't have to make a gazillion dollars to be happy. With our business plan, making an additional $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 a month could create that extraordinary life that people are yearning for and haven't been able to accomplish. So not putting off our dreams, you said that also, living a life where you're no longer having to put your dreams on the back burner or put them on the bookshelf and never bring them down. Just so powerful. I love you to pieces, and I'm just so proud of our friendship. So thank you so much for sharing.